Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I think we're going to start. Respected audience, thank you for joining us. Thank you for making the time in the middle of your work schedules midday. I'm Sarfaraz Paracha. I'm the Vice President for Client Engagements at Systems Limited. I'll be your host for today's session. We've waited for a few minutes. Thank you for bearing with us. I'm really excited to welcome you all to this live webinar focused on data governance in the financial sector. It's co-hosted by IBM and Systems Limited. It's no secret that IBM has been excelling in the field of innovations for over a century now. They're not just a technology player, they've revolutionized the way in which organizations and societies operate. And the focus has not just been tech, but how to solve problems of the world and problems of the organizations using technology, which is state-of-the-art first world technology. We all do know they're over and a significant chunk of that with IT, and that's the kitchen where you see all the technologies of the world stemming from and coming to good of the organizations. At Systems Limited, we're honored to be part of their partner community. We share their goals together. We are honored to share that, Alhamdulillah, we are the leading technology company in Pakistan, a leading technology powerhouse stemming from Pakistan. We've been servicing clients across the globe for the past 4 decades plus, while IBM has been there for over a century. We've been there for almost half a century. Last 2019, we've been inducted, just a couple of months ago, we've been inducted into this Forbes Asia's prestigious 200 under a billion companies, the only technology company of Pakistan to be part of that. Just 2019, last year, we were the largest technology services exporter across the globe from Pakistan. These two parts, they're a testament of our influence in the IT landscape, dedication of systems as a company towards a digital tomorrow. It's reflective of not just our technology strength, our competency strength, it's reflective of the trust people have all over the world in systems and our capabilities to deliver and fulfill their business objectives through technology. So it's this best of the best global technology experience we bring to the table for all of us over here in Pakistan to benefit from. Excuse me. So today's agenda, that brings us to that. This session is how financial institutions, especially banks, need to empower themselves, not only to protect their enterprise, but to get to the level of maturity needed to maximize benefits out of the heaps and heaps of data which you have, and data which is external to the organizations, data which is internal to the organizations. Usually they are scattered, or even organizations that have come to a level that they've amalgamated that data. We will be talking more about the data maturity goals of organizations. A local introduction, we've got Chaudhry Sohail. He's got 2 decades of rich experience in the financial institutions towards analytics, BI, data governance, in particular, specifically for banks. He's a seasoned banker. He's your go-to guy for anything and everything to do with the banking domain knowledge, and to have a marry match between banking domain issues and the tool set which we have. So his expertise is risk advisory for credit, relevant approvals involved, loan servicing, and the likes. So basically, the ins and outs of the financial industry. Sohail Chaudhry, our growth leader for data analytics over here at Systems. He's based out of Karachi, in the office that I'm based out of. So if you have any queries related to banking, he is your go-to guy. We welcome you, Sohail. Thank you for the time. I'll give the floor to you, and you can perhaps share more insights yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Sarfaraz. And thank you very much, the audience, for attending the session. Well, in my 22 years of experience in the business intelligence and analytics framework, I came across various different data warehouse implementations across multiple countries in different banks. But one key takeaway is that the most data warehouse implementation fails in the first round of performance. The definition of fails is unable to deliver the business or key stakeholder data needs or business value. So the question is, why such a high percentage of failure despite the fact the bank used the latest technology framework available at that time. To understand that, we need to look at the history and the information journey of the bank over a time, and how the information operating model evolves to make data governance a challenge. So in the way back, the banking information source. So that's a background of how historically the information is actually processed. So in the way back, the banking information source for the reports coming from the core banking system or a product processor. And those reports were fixed formats. Of information was not possible. The data warehouse concept was still in infancy stage. Banks put their best effort to analyze the information in hand and create silos programs for data scrubbing. 20 years back, there was a program which was famous for that, to ingest the data in silos, apply the rules at Excel level, and generate the MIS and fulfill their needs at that time. This makes an isolated information processing units in the bank within the vertical without having a big picture at the bank level. You can still find the legacy of this in Pakistani banks, where each department has its own MIS unit only for analyzing the information, which is fine. But in order to process the information, that part and the maintaining the semantic layer of the business, that part should be the part of the data warehouse, or in the current scenario, the data lake. Due to a limited exposure of information ignored at a data capture level, that's how we also face the data quality issues. Next. So we gathered some statistics to actually try to articulate the magnitude of this problem. So there is a study that in US, based on US, that 37% of the time, the analyst time spent searching for the data. So this is huge. Like, you want to do something and you're not able to find the data. Model inefficiencies. So there are, can you please, so model inefficiencies. So $60 billion per year in US actually spent on a repetitive manual spreadsheet work. So there are a lot of information in which you just extract the information and just reprocessing it. On average, 60% of the data analysts different data sources. So integration is important. In a data science models, in a projects, 87% of the data science models are only partially deployed, lack of complete end-to-end data ops or machine learning ops. And the most important is, it's quite stretch, but as per different figures, from 60 to 85% of the data warehouse project fails to achieve the required business value. Now the introduction of the data lake, which is more complex technology, it's more difficult and the percentage is much higher. Now, I would like to articulate that how a poor data governance affect the data-driven process initiative. So let's take an example of a bank who really wants to build a digitally enabled and financially matured proposition. So let me start with different segments. So there are 4 segments in this bank: traditionalist, financial stars, digital stars, and professionals. So the traditionalists are the customers who have only a deposit relationship with the bank. They are using your debit card or ATM or checkbook, visit the branch. The financial stars are a little bit upgraded. They actually ask for a loan, wealth management product, auto loan, normal loans, mortgages, bank insurance, mortgage. So these are 2 segments. The digital star is a traditionalist, but they onboard on the application and a mobile app. And the professional is a combination of everybody. So imagine a bank that you like to convert your customer into a professional segment. That's your target market, because the data tells that although most of the revenues coming from the traditionalist deposits, but the customer per revenue is much more higher in the professional segment, and the dormancy ratio is also 50% or more less than other segment. To proceed in this direction, you need to create a customer 360 to build the different models for digital migration and propensity migration. In order to achieve that, the problem is that the same customer information gathered in a different time frame on the same variable. So I applied 3 years back for a deposit. Now I applied for a card. There might be a difference in because of some data quality issue or something in my income, in my age. I change my address or profession. So XYZ. So if you really want to create the right profiling, you need to select the customer's best from the multiple streams. Strong management of this mapping and data prioritization required, and continuously updated as the customer journey progress in terms of product enrichment. A strong foundation is needed to build a machine learning AI model to build the reliable feature sets. So the current challenges and why we need an intelligent data governance model. Uh, this is very important. So one of the reason is the customer is at core. In current technology environment where data complexity and volumes are dramatically increasing with an appetite to ingest alternative data and third-party data, we required an intelligent tool for data governance to make stakeholder life easy to identify the problem, track and improve through intelligent data mapping, data quality improvement algorithms, auto detection of an anomaly in the data pipeline, and business validation rule in data ecosystem. So first thing is customer at core. So the challenge is before you were a product centric, now you are a customer centric. The second approach is there is a huge, for the last 3-4 years, there is a huge shift in the way we handle the data. We used to handle the data like extract, transform, and load. But while this coming of a big data and Hadoop architecture and this architecture, we actually extract all the information first, structured, unstructured, and then we transform again. In these scenarios, the data governance tool have a bigger role, and more specifically, the intelligent data governance tool have a bigger role to tackle the complexity created by load first and transform later. Data ownership is very important. The data ownership should be defined in a repository with a dynamic view in case ownership change or remove, data stewardship, data analyst, and data processor with accountabilities and KPIs. The first line of defense for a data is a data usage entitlement. This is important. In order to secure the data, the first line of defense is this. The central repository should have all the user access, that which user can access what level of information and what breadth of the information. We have now a complex regulatory environment. Everybody knows about it. The query is now becoming complex and more complex. The regulator is asking transaction level information and information about the customer, KYC. So in order to comply with those requirements, we really need to have a comprehensive and consolidated view of the data. So intelligent business rules is required. Intelligent business rules and relationship mapping required by using the intelligent data governance tools. The next one, please. For a quality, you need an algorithm-driven quality assessment and anomaly detection, and also a method how you can change that information. By doing all this stuff, you really need to keep track of changes of everything intact. So, you are processing something, but the initial start should be there. Okay. And the last is your data governance framework should be in a way that it should be data readiness for machine learning and AI. Next one. So in a banking scenario, what is the practical approach? Because it's a very complex proposition. So what is the practical approach in a data governance for a banking is, first thing come first is you need to treat your data as an asset. We are talking about a data is a new oil or new soil or all this stuff. But frankly speaking, are you treating your data as an asset? I give you a very small example. In your bank, your chair is an asset. Your data is not your asset. The moment you create an object as an asset, the governance structure already start wrapping around it. So I give you an example of the chair. Your chair is an asset. You exactly know, regardless of you're a very tech oriented bank or very late bank, or you know, but you know the price of this chair. You have a proper depreciation mechanism in order to calculate the value of this chair. Okay, you also know that this chair will be the part of a boardroom, or it will be in a RM's room, so you know the value of the chair also. If there is some scratch, there is a proper mechanism of a maintenance is also there. And if you like to take this chair outside the bank, somebody will ask you. You have to have some proper procedure. So we really need to treat our data like an asset, so we can actually put all these data governance stuff around it. Okay. The second important thing is a strong executive sponsor to drive a data governance product. Nothing, no tool, no approach, nothing will work if you don't have a strong executive sponsor to drive a data governance product. This is not an IT problem. This is not a business problem. This is enterprise level problem. This is a bank problem. And everybody needs to work together to solve this problem. Uh, you need a new operating model, of course, to process and analyze the information. There will be a lot of people who, before process the information, they need to give this role back to the system and take a new role of a data steward or a data consumer or data analyst. Based on that, the new roles and responsibilities, and of course, the training on the new operating model. All processing business layers and rules drive from system, no isolated process silos, a detailed roadmap with the crisp deliverables, and of course, there is a need of an intelligent tool. We are in 2020. Data is very complex. We just simply not go to the Excel sheet and fix the problems. We need an intelligent tool to identify the problems and give us a head start to fix those problems. I think, thank you very much. Sarfaraz, can you? Sarfaraz?
Yes, Sohail.
Yeah.
Thank you for this extensive overview. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the valuable insights, Sohail. Now that Sohail has thoroughly explained the structure and challenges of the banking sector, to give you a more technical solution of how these challenges can be mitigated, we have Umar Kazmi. I've introduced that he is based out of IBM Qatar. He is the data and AI tech leader at IBM. He's got over 16 years of experience and has been helping organizations start on their data journey from traditional to data-driven enterprises. It's also important to mention that Umar has a decade-long experience with Pakistani telcos before joining IBM, and we're all aware of the exponential growth that data experiences in telcos. So if anything, hang on a second. If anything is parallel to a banking industry in terms of the importance and criticality of that data to be governed, that vertical is the telco. Umar has rich experience in that for the past 5 to 10 years. He's been specifically targeting the financial sector, and that's also pretty relevant to the seminar today. Over to you, Umar, if you could please share your experiences with our prospects.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Sarfaraz, for the introduction and for this opportunity. And thank you, Sohail, for a brilliant explanation of the need that we have in this time, right? So we'll go into a little bit of more details on how IBM can help. Right. So when we go and have discussions with our customers, and what we have seen in different studies as well, is that most of the organizations right now, they're standing at about 64% of those are have reached to a point where they have a standard BI tool and a standard data warehousing. But specifically, when we look into the Pakistani market, people are not actually part of the 64%. They are way below that. So even if you are part of the 64%, or if you are planning on starting your journey towards the data and AI platform, what's must for you is to enable the self-service analytics and generate new business models out of the data, right? Now, with self-service analytics, the first thing that comes into the mind is just to enable the business users generating their own dashboards and their own reports, generating their own insights, right? But that's not just it. It's about the other parts of the data management as well, which is primarily around enabling your data scientists to use the data and generate AI models, which can, at the end, help you improve the operational efficiencies of your organization. It can help you generate new models. Um, it can help you look into how you're going to tap your customers in a better way, right? So whether you're part of the 64% or you're not, if you're deciding on starting a journey towards being a data-centric organization, there are some key fundamentals that you have to remember. The first fundamental that we have to remember is that there is no AI without IA. And when we say that IA, it's basically information architecture, right? So now information architecture is not about how you are just storing your data, right? We have brilliant RDBMS, we have big data platforms, we have the world-class Hadoop platforms, but uh, the information architecture piece covers how you're going to govern that data, right? No amount of AI algorithm or logic is sophisticated enough to cover up the lack of data management that you have. A lot of times, what we have seen, and our studies also suggest that when we go into any sort of data related reports or AI model, we spend about 80% of the time in just the preparation. And now the next step is understanding, ingesting, integrating, and assessing the quality. Now, think about your organization. Gone are the days when we used to have one platform only, and which was containing all of the um, data that that the organization was generating. Like Sohail was mentioning that previously, a decade ago, more than a decade ago, all the reports were coming in from the core banking system, right? But now, if you look at your bank, you'll probably have more than 50 or 60 data points which are generating the data, right? And now, when you're going into it and looking into the analyzing that data set or generating the insights, you have to combine all of that data together uh, to create a model. Like again, Sohail mentioned that you will need for at least 5 data points to input to your data models, right? So how you're going to discover that? Those are tens of systems that are sitting out there. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is, from the technical perspective, every system contains its own nomenclature of managing the data, right? Maybe the context of the data is the same, right? But the nomenclature is absolutely different. And then part comes in how I'm going to ingest it into the model, how I'm going to access it. And then quality is the biggest challenge that all the organizations are facing, right? How I'm going to curate the data, how I'm going to bring it to a point where the data is clean enough to go into my reporting model or my AI model. So a lot of time is spent on this preparation part. And then rest of the steps follow, where you are building the model, you're running the model, and then you're managing it. But look at it from a perspective, whether you have started your journey or not, 80% of the times organizations spend in just the preparation phase. Preparation is, again, I would say, discovering, understanding, ingesting the data, and not to forget that there is an important part where you have to create synergy between your technical team and your business team, right? So they have to work hand in hand to understand how this data is going to translate into the models. right? So what we come up with a concept of data ops, where what we are doing is we are bringing a platform which can bring people, process, and technology together and deliver the continuous high quality data for the users, right? So we have understood the data, we have connected to the data sources, we have prepared the data, we have created a layer where we are mapping your business with your technology, right? But now when I'm using that data, I have to have a continuous high quality data availability for my models. It's not like one-time activity, it's a continuous factor. Then when we bring in all of these three pillars together, people, processes, and technology, the collaboration and automation part is very important, because now as if, for example, I am a technical person and Sohail is a business user, I have to collaborate with him to understand what he's trying to do and how his rules and processes are overlapping to the technical part of the data, right? So all of these are combined together, and we come into the three parts, the three sub pillars of data ops. The first part is knowing the data, right? So that's the same as understanding, right? Where you are defining your business processes, your policies, your terms, your glossaries, and everything. So I'll give you a very small example here. How do we define a customer in your organization? A customer can be a person who has signed up for a product in your organization, right? With your bank. But how do we define an active customer? Maybe you have a definition that the customer is defined as active when he generates maybe a credit or debit transaction on his account. Only then he's marked as an active customer. Uh, Similarly, we can define how we are going to define our dormant customers or a churn customers, right? So this is a business policy, business knowledge that has to be translated back into the data. So this is how I'm going to generate the know part and the understanding of the data, right? Moving on, the trust part. Obviously, when I have a collaboration with my business users, when they are collaborating with me right away, the trust is already there. The trust is there because now they know that their requirements, their understanding is mapped directly onto the data as well. And then obviously I'm doing the data quality pieces as well, which is generating trust on the customers. Then how I'm going to use it, it's another important part. Now all of these capabilities are part of the platform, what we call what's a knowledge catalog. The data governance piece, knowing your data, how you're going to define your terms, your glossary, your business rules, business concepts is part of the data governance piece. Data quality is around how you're going to start trusting your data, which is primarily based on data stewards and data quality analysts. And then how your data is being consumed, right? So it's not about just governing it. It's not just about providing a quality data, but it's also about how the data is being used in your organization, right? So all of these three pieces are combined together into what's a knowledge catalog. uh, and it has it has a business view and it has a technology view. My business users can work directly on the governance side, where they can define the business concepts, their rules and policies, and at the same time my stewards can start working on the quality pieces. And then my data is available for consumption by the data citizens, be it my business users, by my data scientist, be it my technology itself, right? So all of these capabilities, which actually maps back to whatever Sohail explained, the challenges in the banking industry, it maps back to that. So now how this platform of Watson Knowledge Catalog is available for the business users. It's going to be a bit of a technical piece, but I'll try to keep it simple. So what we have as a platform is called Cloud Pak for Data, right? Now, Cloud Pak for Data sounds like something on the cloud, right? So let me explain that. So Cloud Pak for Data is an on-prem offering of IBM. It can be deployed behind your own firewall on your infrastructure. It's basically running on Red Hat OpenShift. Then we have a control plane of Cloud Pak for Data, and then we have all the application. Now consider Cloud Pak for Data as a mobile phone that you buy from a shop, right? So it comes with the hardware, with the software, and some basic capabilities like calling app, your messaging app, or some other applications that every provider is providing, right? So Cloud Pak for Data is a similar example. So Cloud Pak for Data comes with some primary base offerings, which includes Watson Knowledge Catalog, Watson Studio, or Watson Machine Learning. I'll touch upon what Watson Studio and Watson Machine Learning does, but Watson Knowledge Catalog is basically part of the base offering. Now, if you need any other functionality, let's say in our world, we are looking at MongoDB and Postgres as being a lot of being used by a lot of customers. So it is available as an add-on to Cloud Pak for Data. So now what happens is you have an integrated platform which is covering all the needs of your data management from BI, from governance, from machine learning. All of that is sitting into one platform, right? So let's take an example. I have received some data from different data sources. I've been able to connect all of the sources from one single platform, which is my data virtualization layer, which we call data virtualization manager within Cloud Pak for Data. That is, the data is sitting within your disparate heterogeneous environment, but I'm still able to connect that. I push it through Watson Knowledge Catalog. I apply all of my business rules, my data curation policies, my data quality policies, and then I pass it on to Watson Studio, which is basically a platform where you can develop machine learning models using Python or Scala. It's a notebook environment. And then you can operationalize it using Watson Machine Learning, and then you can manage it through Watson OpenScale. So for it sounds very simple, right? But all of these capabilities are present in one platform as a base capability for the customers. Right. So now what are the benefits that we can enjoy having an integrated platform? So the first one is with all of the policies that we are defining, my business users have started trusting my data. I have defined all of these policies one time, and every time the data is coming in, these policies are automatically enforced onto them. My business glossaries, my business terms, my policies, my assets are now all governed. Governed in a way not just by one department, but a team of people who are collaborating together on a single platform to make it trustable. Now, since the data is not in a way disconnected, it's connected, it reduces the cost of how you're going to integrate that. Be it the data is sitting in different databases, but still with the Cloud Pak for Data Cloud Pak for Data, we are able to connect to those sources and make it a connected kind of an environment which can be consumed, right? Now, having Cloud Pak for Data as a base platform for this offering, you pay for what you need. As I explained, it's just like a mobile phone. You buy the base platform, and then if you need any other application, you buy and install. Or there are some applications which are available free of cost that you can download and install on Cloud Pak for Data and use it as a base platform. So the second part is that it is built on open source, so the capability on-prem to or appliance, which is a hyper-converged appliance based on x86. It can be deployed on IBM Cloud, and it can be deployed on any third-party cloud, be it Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud. And all this flexibility is out there just because of the Red Hat OpenShift based platform that we are using underneath Cloud Pak for Data. Now, once I have done all of this part, I'm going to utilize that, right? So, for example, I created a model. Now I know that there's X number of customers that they are going to churn in next 6 months, right? It's as good of an information as I'm going to use it, right? So if I'm not able to connect these customers, these known facts to my operational touch points where these customers are potentially going to come, it's no use. So I have high availability with API connectivity within Cloud Pak for Data platform that will enable me to connect to your CRM, be it your CRM, be it your mobile app. I can connect to that as well and push the information, or the platform can, or the front end application can pull the information from Cloud Pak for Data and serve the customer, be it an NBA or a product offer, or any campaign that you are trying to run to retain those customers. So I've said a lot of things, but I want to emphasize on a couple of capabilities that are available with the Cloud Pak for Data and subsequently with Watson Knowledge Catalog. The first one is data discovery. Now imagine you are going to start a project in which you have a big database, a core banking big database. How you're going to start is you're going to go and talk to someone who understands the database. But Watson Knowledge Catalog comes with a key feature which is called data discovery. What it does is it connects to your data source, run algorithms, and come back and tells you that your data quality is at this level. This table, this column contains this much quality. This is and it creates the relationship between the data itself as well. It's not about how the referential integrity is enforced in the database, right? It is about how the data itself is connected to the other data tables as well. So all of this information comes into a nice looking dashboard to you, which gives you a good head start how to understand the data and how to create a strategy to work on it. Another feature of auto data discovery is around bulk term assignments. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when we go into the databases, the column names can be different, but the context of that column is similar, right? So you don't want to go and do the repetitive work, right? So bulk term assignments capability is out there, which helps you identify which are the similar columns, and you can assign the terms and glossary and the business rules in bulk to all of that. The second feature is how you're going to govern your AI models. Knowing your model is one part where you have to understand what that model consists of, what sort of data it is consuming, the metadata it is generating, and the life cycle of that model. Then trusting your model, how again the policies of the business, how they are going to impact on your model, the policies, the procedures that you have defined, and how you're going to enforce the model validation rules before you're going to productionize that. Then how you're going to use the model, right? You can define the thresholds for biases, fairness, and accuracy before the data can be used by a person or the front-end application. The whole cycle for the AI governance is available in Watson Knowledge Catalog. And then I think this is very important, especially when we have all these data regulations and GDPR coming in, how we are going to trace our data in terms of creating a data lineage. So the data lineage capability is out of the box available within Watson Knowledge Catalog. You can know from where the data came in, how you processed it, what were the rules and formula that you applied on it, and then on the business lineage side, who's consuming it. So the complete life cycle from tracing the data where it's coming from and how it is consumed, it's completely governed by Watson Knowledge Catalog. There's an important factor which Sarfaraz also mentioned in the beginning of the session is who's going to be the custodian of the data, and that's very important. There's some data points in your organization which are available to some certain group of people, which is not available for everyone, right? So how you can define those certain group of people having access to a certain type of data, right? So you can define that as well within Watson Knowledge Catalog, and then you can monitor that as well. how your data is being consumed in the overall scheme of things. So one of our customers in North America was facing challenges around generating customer 360. Now, imagine customer 360 is accumulation of a lot of data coming in from different sources, right? Different context. How we are going to govern that? How we are going to top of the data that customer 360 into my here it's a hyper converged appliance. So they rapidly developed they were rapidly able to connect to all the data sources through the federation layer, through the data virtualization layer, govern that data with Watson knowledge catalog, create a small data warehouse using DB2 warehouse, and then develop the AI models on top of it to improve their business. Similarly, we have other examples as well, where another insurance company in laws and it to enable a governed data environment. Similarly, we have a lot of other banks as well, which are and other customers as well, which are using Cloud Pak for data. And Cloud Pak for data is not, again, I will clarify, Cloud Pak for data is not just used for data governance, but it's a single integrated platform which gives you the capability around that. It also provides you capability of developing a data warehousing using MPP platforms like DB2 Warehouse, and BI capabilities using Cognos Analytics and Cognos Planning Analytics. So it's a complete platform, and Watson Knowledge Catalog is just an add-on which is sitting on top of Cloud Pak for data. And it's giving you an integrated environment, a single environment which you can use for your complete data management and for your AI. So thank you very much, Sarfaraz. Over to you.
Thank you, Umar. That's pretty in-depth knowledge, and thank you for walking us through the tool. Just reflective of the strength that you have hands-on on this tool and how you can add value to our clients, the audience over here. Thank you, Sohail, for the business case that you made and the match that we clearly see that there's a business problem, which hopefully people could get the message that if they have a similar business problem, this tool set from IBM and our technology services team can bridge the gap between your objectives vis-a-vis this particular requirement and the business problem which you have. So if you have any Q&As, we can, if you have any questions, we can take this Q&A session. But if you have any detailed specific requirement where you would want to engage with our team, you can always have those questions thrown to us via our email, and our experts are going to get back to you. Any questions for the audience right now? Umar and Sohail would be more than willing to take them. It's okay, Umar. This message that you're saying by mistake has gone to the entire audience and not just me, that you are unmute with no issue at all. This is fine. So thank you for the time. We really appreciate, like I said, you making the time in the middle of the day, especially in December. We know the workload at this time of the year. We really appreciate that you've done that, guys. So I think we'll call it a day. We've already passed 5 minutes over the scheduled time. And thank you, Omar, for the extensive walkthrough. Thank you, Sohail, for the elaboration of the business case, and inshallah, we'll take it through.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity, Sarfaraz. Thank you very much.
Thank you, but please stay on the line, Omar. We're not billing you out right now. There's a question.
Okay, sure.
Hang on, please. I'll just open it up. What hardware? That's this OS Chishti. What hardware setup is suitable for Cloud Pak? I think Umar will take that question in detail, but
Yeah.
he did mention that it comes with you. It's just like a mobile analogy which he gave, that it has a specific underlying infrastructure. It has a set of tools on top of that infra. So it's a box which comes for you, which can be configured and aligned and integrated with your systems. Over to you, Umar.
Yeah, so basically Cloud Pak for data, when we talk about an on-prem implementation, it comes into two form factors. One is basically just the software, which you can install on top of any hardware that you have. It can run on x86. The second form factor for Cloud Pak for Data is a hyper-converged appliance, which we call Cloud Pak for Data system. It's a pre-configured x86 environment with all of the software and the add-ons that you need. You can install it yourself. The scalability is there in both the scenarios because it's running on top of OpenShift. You can add worker nodes to it if you're running short on compute or storage. So it's kind of completely scalable from a perspective of how you're going to expand the environment. And from your questions perspective, from the base platform perspective, it can run on any hardware that you have, be it x86 or if you have power.
Thank you, Umar. So the message is that primarily the main prerequisite is not what you need to worry about. It's pretty much hardware agnostic in terms of the compatibility. Any more questions from the crowd? I think we have one more. I think we have one more. I think we don't have a question right now, but if you do, you have the means to reach us through our email addresses, through the registration link which you had. So you can throw your questions directly towards myself, Sarfaraz, or you have Umar, you have Sohail, you've got Imran Sufi and Imran Khan based out of North. We elaborated in detail about our association with IBM, the strength which IBM has, the strength which systems has to meet your goals. But there was also a slide in the start which talked about these other tools and the other technologies which you can bring on the table. So anything to do with technology which you feel we can lend a helping hand and further your goals, we'd be more than willing to do that. Thank you for the time, guys. We'll call it a day. Assalamu alaikum.